Commanders hire Dan Quinn to match with their new general manager, Adam Peters, to lead this franchise into the future.
The way that we live is not for everybody, okay? It's not, all right? Because we're going to run and put our bodies on people in a violent manner.
Whether the team is giving us the highest of highs or the bluest of blues, we'll cover it all here on Commanders Nightly News. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So, a lot has been made about this Week 8 contest versus Chicago Bears. As I've mentioned, it's going to lose a little bit of its luster because I've already told you, I don't think Jayden Daniels is playing in this game. Now, that remains to be seen. He did not practice for the second consecutive day. I already told you after yesterday and the way that they've handled players previously to this, this doesn't feel like a situation that they're going to rush. I think he'll be back next week for the Giants game. However, I don't foresee him playing in this game. That said, doesn't change the fact that it's a big game, doesn't change the fact that we need to win this game, that us as fans want this game very badly, and all of that good stuff. But you know what is more important, right? Move all of that stuff aside. Move the number 1 versus number 2 pick stuff aside. Move the whole beef that we have with Bears fans aside, and just strip this down to the bare essentials. I talked about this 2-game stretch here, the first time we played back-to-back home games this season. We're 3-0 at Northwest Stadium. Hell, we're undefeated at Northwest Stadium, all right? This is the first time we've had back-to-back home games. We've got 3 out of 4 at home. This is a big stretch. We need to take care of home and take care of business where it matters most, right? But when you talk about the potential trajectory of this season, this is a big game. In that context, when you look at our schedule and the way it's played out, the knock right now is you haven't beaten a team over 500. There's no real win on, and that doesn't faze me one bit. You're not going to make me feel bad again. We can't help what other teams do leading up to our game, right? It's not our job to make sure that they're good when they play us. Our job is to dispose of them when they get to our game. And if they're trash, take them out. Don't hesitate. Be great. Put them in the dumpster. Walk away. Don't sift through the garbage. Don't allow the garbage to sit there, marinate, and funk up the place. Put it where it belongs. And that's what we've done against teams like the Giants. And even though that one was a lot closer, that was us in our infant stages. You talk about week 2, we're a totally different team. Both offensively, defensively. Thank God we were different special teams-wise. That was the first game of Austin Seibert, and he saved us in that game. But we were a totally different outfit defensively. We were still figuring things out then. We are a totally different offense now, right? More confidence. This team is way more confident than it was in week 2. We were still trying to find our identity. And we're still striving towards that, right? We still haven't set our identity, but we know what it looks like, what it's supposed to look like. Now it's about being consistent and doing it week in and week out and establishing this is who we are, right? But we know what it's supposed to look like. We've seen it in action. Last week is a great example. So we can't help what happens, but you can help how you play against those teams. And we beat up Cleveland. We beat up the Panthers. We beat up Arizona. And we did what we were supposed to do in those games against those opponents, right? So now the question is, can you do it against a team that is of equal or maybe greater value, right? I think we're better than them, but we got to prove it on Sunday, right? If nothing else, we're of equal value right now. The difference is we've played an extra game. We've looked way more impressive than they have in a lot of these contests, but they do it differently than us. We do it offensively. They do it defensively. So it's not going to look as pretty. It's not going to be as glamorous, right? But they found ways to win, and they're 4-2. And they're going to be the best defensive team we've seen all season long to this point. And so we're probably not going to have our most dynamic player, and that changes things. But if we are the offense that we claim to be, then we should still be able to execute at a high enough level to find a way to win. It won't be 34-20 like it could have been if Jayden was in the lineup, right? Maybe it still might be. I highly doubt that. This is probably going to be a lot closer than it needs to be because that's a good defense. And Marcus Mariota isn't Jayden Daniels. And I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. But when it's all said and done, when you look at this week 8, not just for the Commanders, but for the entirety of the NFC East, this is a big week. And I've talked about this already when I talked about around the NFC East. This is a game that could essentially allow you, this is an NFC opponent, right? And it's not a common opponent. Nobody else in the division plays the Bears. This is one of those games outside of the division that we're playing where you're slotted at the year before is where you're going to end up being. They were a last place team. We were a last place team last year in our respective divisions. That's why we're playing each other. That's why Dallas played Detroit, because Dallas won the division. Detroit won the division. That's why the Eagles will be playing, or have they already played? They didn't play them yet. They did. They already played Green Bay, right? And then, the Giants played Minnesota in week 1. So this is our opportunity to beat a team with a winning record, but to also maybe create distance. Again, we don't know, and we can't control what happens with Philadelphia. We'll see how good the Eagles are. That's a tough assignment going on the road. We know it took everything we had to go out to Cincinnati and beat the Bengals, right? We know what that's like. It's not easy. We'll see what they're made of. And if they take care of business, they're not going away, right? They lose that game, and who knows? Their season could spiral. I doubt it because, again, I said they needed to win 1 out of their next 2. They won 1 already. They beat the Giants. Like I said, if they somehow lost to the Giants, they could be in trouble. But they won that game. They did what they were supposed to do. So even losing this game, it's not going to be the end of the world for Philadelphia because you could bounce back the next week against Jacksonville. But shit's about to get real for the Eagles. And if they're serious, then they got to continue trending in the direction that they're heading. But if they lose to Cincinnati, if Dallas loses to San Francisco, and we beat Chicago, we could really start to put our imprint on this division. Like, we're one slip up away, coupled with an Eagles win, from not being in first place anymore, right? Our margin for error isn't great right now. And that's okay. This division, we knew going in that, first of all, we didn't even expect to be here. That's number one. I can't speak for everybody. I didn't expect us to be here. Not until we beat Cincinnati, and then I looked at the rest of the division. I'm like, oh, shit. Philadelphia's not great. Dallas is struggling. Oh, yeah, we got a shot now, right? But it wasn't until we beat Cincinnati, got to 2-1, and you looked up and you said, wait a minute. Philadelphia's 2-1? Dallas is 1-2? Wait. We're leading the division after 3 weeks? Tied for it. Well, hey, let's go win this thing. Why the hell not? But even at that point, you still said, well, one of these two teams, if not both of them, aren't going away. They're going to be here. So no one told us it was going to be easy. Not expecting it to be. But if you are serious about winning this division, if you're serious about making some noise in this conference, look, the Bears are a quality team, but by no means are they dominant. You know, I had somebody slide into my email, a guy that I respect. He's a cool dude. He's not one of these Bears fans that's been talking crazy shit, but he's confident in his team, just like we're confident in our team. And he emailed me and he said, y'all not scoring, I don't care who your quarterback is, y'all not scoring no more than 20, and we're beating you by 2 scores. And that was regardless of who the quarterback was. and he said, I see you sleeping on my team and you're going to find out. And I'm like, oh, really? Word. You coming in my emails, you sliding in my emails, talking shit? Okay. So they are confident about what they can do defensively. They're feeling better about their offense. It's been better of late. Make no mistake about it. You want to talk about not playing anybody? Other than the Houston Texans, who have the Bears played? You lost to Indianapolis, right? Like, what are we talking about here? Now, they're a different team than the one. They should have lost to Tennessee, but again, it's like me talking about week 2. We are a totally different team than we were in week 2. They're a totally different team than they were in week 1 with Caleb. Totally different team than they were with Caleb in week 2 against Houston, or week 3 even with him on the road against Indy. Here's the thing. They haven't won a road game this season. And this ain't going to be the one that they win here. They're not good on the road. And somehow, because they've played teams like the Rams and the Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're beating their chest defensively, right? They're beating their chest defensively. And maybe they are really good defensively. We'll find out. They're going to get put to the test this week. Whether it's Mariota or Jayden Daniels, and I already told you it's going to be Mariota. They're going to get put to the test because we're going to run that bitch. We're going to see how good their run defense is. We're going to run that bitch. They ain't seen a run game like this. We're going to spread you out, and then we're going to bust you in the mouth. They ain't seen no shit like this. We're going to make them run, right? We ain't going to run right at them and make it easy for them. We're going to spread their ass out. We're going to get it out of Mariota's hands quickly, and then just when they thought it was safe, they better get pressure, and they've done that. Got to give them credit. Javon Dexter has been a problem interior-wise. Montez Sweat has been really solid. They've gotten pressure. But if they don't this week, and this offensive line's been playing its ass off, if they don't get pressure this week, it's going to be a problem. And we'll get into that when we get into behind enemy lines, right? I'll just say this. We got a chance to create some distance within the division, really put pressure on Philadelphia, really put pressure on Dallas. If we just keep winning, we'll do that anyway, right? Just continuing to win puts more and more pressure on the other teams in the division. But if they lose, coupled with a win by us, and we'll know what the outcome of the Eagles game is before we hit the field. They play at 1 o'clock. We took their spot. They were at 4:25. We were at 1 o'clock. And CBS, obviously the Jayden, Caleb thing was a big deal then, and it's unfortunately for them. I know it sucks for the network. They wanted that matchup. They're not going to get it, but they flip-flopped the 2 games and put Philadelphia, like I told you, things are changing, right? That's the Jayden Daniels effect. In this particular case, Jayden Daniels and Caleb Williams. But we'll know what the outcome of that game is before we play. Hopefully, we're going into the game playing with house money because I want to win regardless. Whether the Eagles win or lose, I don't give a shit. I want to win, period. I always tell you, I don't worry about what the other teams are doing. If we take care of our business, and it's never been more true than it is right now. If we take care of our business, it doesn't really matter what everybody else is doing. We're the best team in this division. And if we play like it, we don't have to worry about what everybody else is doing. Eventually, we'll have to prove it against those teams in the division. But until we get there, we take care of each opponent one game at a time, and this is the next biggest one on the schedule because it's the next game up. As bad as we want this because of what the Bears fans have been doing, leading up to this game all season long and the hate that they've been spewing and all of that shit, I want this game because F the Bears. They ain't going nowhere this year. They're probably going to finish in last place in their division again. I'm not concerned with the Bears. I'm concerned with us and what we doing. And the Bears are in the damn way. Just like the Cardinals were, just like the Browns were, just like the Panthers were. They're in the way. And they're not some immovable object. They can be moved. So pick their ass up and fling their little monkey asses out of the way. And let's move on to the next one. It's a big one. Let's go out there and get it. Let's continue to protect the house. And they're at the top of the goddamn list. We talking revenge. Nobody's higher on the list. Maybe Dallas. Just because there's more built up disdain with the Cowboys. But shit, it's 1A, 1B. What they did to us last year, same uniforms. Oh, we owe them big time. So whether it's Mariota or Jayden Daniels, we need that. We got to go get that. We got to have that. So let's go get that. In other news, heard from the two coordinators today. We'll talk about what was said there. But before we do that, you know how we roll. And I don't want to forget. So let me do this right now. 2 tickets. 2 tickets to paradise. Pack your bags. We leave tonight. Got 2 tickets to this Bears game. If I want the environment to be what it needs to be, I need to do my part. So I'm giving away 2 tickets. So you can go there and make as much noise as need be to make sure we come away with the dub. All right. Hashtag bear hunting. No G. All right. Bear hunting. Got to be a member of the mob or Patreon to be entered into this opportunity and this drawing. But the hashtag, if you're interested in 2 tickets to this Bears game this Sunday, the hashtag is bear hunting. No G. The hashtag is scrolling across the top of the screen. Bear hunting. If you're interested in 2 tickets to this Bears game and you're a member of the mob, we'll do that drawing on the show tomorrow. Okay? Bear hunting. Give those 2 tickets away tomorrow. So let's look at the injury report for both teams from Thursday, starting with the good guys. So nothing here earth-shattering. I already told you Brandon Coleman's not playing this week, and I told you I don't think Jayden Daniels is playing this week. It's not rocket science. This is not a hard equation. Best player, most important player in the last decade plus, they're not risking him for a week 8 contest. They've taken it slow with every single injured player to this point. You really think they're going to rush the quarterback? You're right. So neither one of those dudes are playing this week. Everybody else was limited yesterday, and then Emmanuel Forbes was full. Then you get to today, and Clelin Ferrell didn't practice. And I'm hoping that this was more of a rest thing where, okay, you know, he practiced yesterday, knee kind of flared up a little bit. We'll hold him out today, see how he feels tomorrow. But I think this knee thing with Clelin Ferrell is going to be a problem all year long, you know. And if this is a sign of things to come, this is a one-and-done situation because I like Cle. And I wouldn't have minded having him back next year, right? But if this knee is a problem, like we didn't even play any games and the knee was a problem. And it's been a problem all year long, and it started back in camp. If this is an issue, then he can't be back next year. And that's no disrespect to Cle because I like him, and I actually think he does a really good job when he's out there. I've been pleasantly surprised and pleased with his performance, right? But he's got to be healthy, man. And it just seems like this knee is always an issue. I just hope that this was just a precautionary measure taken. They gave him the day off. He's limited again tomorrow, and he plays on Sunday. Now, this has less of an impact if Dorrance Armstrong is back. But remember, you got Dorrance still coming back. He's not 100% if he plays this week. I think he's going to play. So we need Cle, right? This is why I was talking about with Jamin Davis. Even though Jamin wasn't a needle mover, and I don't have any issues with them releasing him, but we don't have a ton of incredible depth at defensive end. We just got stuff. After our top 4 guys, it's not a lot there, right? You got Dorrance, you got Dante Fowler Jr., you got F.A., and you have Cle. After that, what do you have, right? So You got to hope that Dorrance is good. If as long as we got 3 out of the 4, we're fine. We're fine. So hopefully Clee's all right. Everybody else is good. You know, Derek Forrest was added to the list with a neck. Hopefully he's okay. I'd imagine he'll be fine, right? And he'll be able to play. He's been really good on special teams. So, again, nothing here earth-shattering, nothing here really that surprising, other than Clee not practicing today, which is not a good thing. So we go from the good guys to the Opps. This is good news for us. When you look at those 2 guys at the top of this list who didn't practice for the second consecutive day, there's real concern that those guys may not play. And those are 2 real big pieces of their secondary. Brisker, as we talked about yesterday when DQ talked about his versatility and what he brings to that defense, if he can't go, and Kyler Gordon, who's a really good, you heard Mariota talk about him yesterday as one of the better nickels in the league. If he can't go, that's a big, big blow, both of them, to their secondary. So everybody else, like I said, they're coming off of a bye. You don't expect many injuries when you're coming off of a bye, right? So I wasn't really looking for any kind of advantage. That would be a bit of an advantage if those 2 can't go, right? It's not more of an advantage than Jayden Daniels not being able to go, right? So it goes both ways. So let's get to what was said by the 2 coordinators today. Once again, if you're a member of the mob, we're giving away 2 tickets to Sunday's contest against the Bears. Hashtag Bear Hunting. Bear Hunting. No G. Hashtag Bear Hunting if you want to be entered in to the drawing tomorrow to give away those 2 tickets. So we heard from Kliff Kingsbury and Joe Whitt Jr. We'll start with Kliff, as we always do. Kliff talked about, this offense. Obviously, he got a bunch of Caleb Williams questions. As you know, that's standard operating procedure when it's a high-profile situation like this, number 1 overall pick. You were with him all last year at USC. He interviewed for the Bears OC job. I really think that was nothing more than a fact-finding mission. He elected not to talk about it when he first got here. Then Nikki Javala asked him about it again today, and he's like, yeah, I don't really want to get into that because I don't think it was a real interview. I think it was a sham interview, really just to kind of get more information on Caleb. Like, what are we getting ourselves into? Is this a kid that we could really, draft and make the face of our franchise? It was just another opportunity to talk to somebody who had gotten to know Caleb really well. And I don't think they really interviewed him for their offensive coordinator job because he'd be a much better coordinator for them than Shane Waldron has been. But that's nor here nor there. I'm glad they didn't interview him for real and that he ended up here in Washington. Everything happens for a reason. So he talked about Caleb, what a kid he is, what a dynamic athlete he is. He kind of, compared him to Patrick Mahomes in the sense of Kliff had both of them, right? Kliff had Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech, and he had, him last year at USC, and he's like, he's a lot like Patrick in the sense that he thinks he can make every play, doesn't necessarily always take the check down because he always thinks there's a bigger play that can be made, and sometimes you got to reel those type of guys in, but he's such a competitor. You love that about him, and he can throw from different slot angles. Look, Caleb Williams is a beast. Don't let your bias because of Bears fans cloud your judgment on how talented this kid is. He went number 1 for a reason, and a lot of you wanted him, before the draft took place. You were trying to do everything in your power to trade up to number 1 to get him. So don't try to shit on him now and act as if he's not nice. He's nice, right? This issue we have with the Bears has nothing to do with Caleb Williams. Keep that in mind. He's a hometown kid. He ain't done shit to us. We trying to bust his shit on Sunday because he's in the way. But he's talented. And don't try to convince yourself otherwise, right? We're not like Bears fans. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. They some bitch-ass Bears fans, right? They can't admit that, hey, they got one of them ones potentially, and we got one of them ones. I can admit, they probably got one of them ones too. Like, when we look 5, 6, 7 years down the road, and this new generation is taking over, and some of these older quarterbacks start to, remove themselves from the equation, It's going to be our guy. It could probably potentially be their guy. It's going to be, other quarterbacks like C.J. Stroud, maybe Jordan Love, that start to assume the mantle of, hey, we the best in the game right now, right? So we got to treat him as such. He's growing as a quarterback. And, Kliff, essentially talked about that. He's a really talented guy. I think we're all aware of that. He talked about, Marcus Mariota, and a lot of the things that Marcus said, he just regurgitated in terms of, preparing for the week. He's like, look, with the quarterbacks, every week we have a call sheet with plays that Jayden likes and then the backup likes, right? So I talked about this the other day when Marcus talked. He said every week Kliff is unique because every week Kliff not only goes to the starter and says, hey, what do you like? He goes to the backup and says, hey, what do you like? Because the two are not the same, right? There may be plays and concepts that Jayden loves and Marcus is like, nah, I don't like that shit. Here's what I like, right? So it's two different call sheets, two different sets of plays that they really might like. There could be some overlapping plays, I would imagine, but for the most part, you want to make sure you make the quarterback as comfortable. And this is why I love Kliff. And then we heard this before Kliff even called his first play here, that Ertz told us Kliff is going to take what you do well and the things you like, and he's going to assimilate the offense to your skill set and the things you want to do. He's not going to try to force you to fit his offense. He's going to make his offense fit around you. And that's all we ever wanted here in Washington. We've never had that, right? Everybody going all the way back to the Shanahans. The Shanahans were a unique case because they did fit their offense. They tailored their offense around Robert Griffin III, right? And he didn't want the tailored offense. He wanted their offense. He wanted the shit that they were running when Kirk came in, which he wasn't ready for. And yeah, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole, right? But every coach since then, Jay Gruden had his own scheme and the shit that he was running, which wasn't a problem because Jay's offense was very effective, especially the pass game, not necessarily the run game. And then obviously we saw the shit that Scott Turner did, and he didn't fit the offense around it. He just had a scheme. This is our shit. We're going to run it. And whether you fit in it or not, too bad, right? And then same thing with old Eric Bieniemy, right? The preacher. This is what we doing. Either you going to get with the program or not. And that's bullshit. That's loser football. And that's why you've seen the success. That's why people love playing for Kliff. Because Kliff is going to allow you to play your brand of football. He's going to put you in the best positions to be successful. And he talked about that with Marcus. He's like, yo, I got a sheet for Marcus. I'm going to have a sheet this week for Jeff Driscoll. And, we'll go into the game. And he didn't say that, right? He just said, we'll have a sheet for whoever's starting and we'll have a sheet for whoever's the backup, right? But it's Marcus and it's Jeff. Like, who are we kidding? So he talked about Ben Sinnott scoring his first touchdown. And obviously now, this is the media. They love to run with little cool stories now. So now the Commanders are Swifties. Out of here with that bullshit, man. But apparently, the tight ends named the play that Ben Sinnott scored on Taylor Swift. So they're gonna run with that. They're gonna make that a big deal now, of course, which is cool. I don't give a shit what the play's called. Just I want to see it be successful, right? So they asked him a couple of questions about that. There was a little question about can Kliff cook. He was like, nah, I'm a door dasher. So some lighthearted moments in the press conference. But all jokes aside, Kliff was like, yeah, no, we know this is a good Bears defense. They present a lot of challenges. We know they're a post team, meaning there's a single high safety for the most part. Somebody, man in the middle of the field. They like to come down, be aggressive. They love their corners, and they feel like they can play on the outside. And so they don't mind bringing that extra defender down in the box to stop the run. So, he really didn't have a lot to elaborate on the defense because he hasn't seen, obviously, other than what he's watching film on. He hasn't played against him. He wasn't in the same division with Matt Eberflus, so he's not as familiar with him, but at the end of the day, they feel confident, as they should. And I'm just going to enjoy the ride with Kliff, man. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I'm going to just enjoy it, right? Then you got to defensive coordinator Joe Whitt, and as the weeks progress, I'm loving Joe Whitt more and more. I told you from the jump, this is the right man for the job. You know, he's showing us a little bit more of his sense of humor side. He had a light moment with the media with them catching the mic, and he said, "Hey, that's ball is life, right?" Like, he's still ornery, and I love that. He's aggressive in how he presents everything to the defense, but he's also a teacher. But he makes no bones about, hey, look, there's certain shit I can call when DFJ is in there or DA is in there, and there's certain shit that I can't call when others are in there. I can't call the same shit because I'm going to be honest with you. When DFJ is in there, I don't have to call as many 5-man pressures. I don't have to blitz as much. He can get to the quarterback. This is why I've been adamant we need to add another pass so you don't have to blitz as much. DFJ is the only guy. He's the only guy right now, along with Dorrance Armstrong Jr. They're the only two right now that I have any confidence that they can win a one-on-one matchup, and then you sprinkle in a little Frankie Louvu as well. And, obviously Frankie's not rushing on every third down. But those are the only 3 dudes that I feel confident at all that can win a one-on-one matchup and consistently get to the quarterback. And it wasn't supposed to be this way. Daron Payne was supposed to be a part of that group, and he hasn't been this season, right? For whatever reason. But he's like, yeah, no, because he talked about Dante Fowler Jr. in particular. He's like, I haven't talked about him enough. And I don't think anybody has. I've been one of the biggest cheerleaders for Dante Fowler Jr. when we signed him, because I'm like, yo, this dude is a difference maker. And I couldn't have imagined he'd have this big of a role, because when I came here, he wasn't supposed to be starting. He started 2 or 3 games this season just based off of the injury situation with Dorrance Armstrong being out this last game, Cleveland Farrell missing 3 games. He's had to start a bunch of games that he wasn't supposed to have to play this much. He was supposed to be the reserve, remember how excited I was about finally having a situational pass rusher because he can get to the quarterback. And he's been so much more for us. I'd even say that when you get everybody back, I'd even think about starting him. But again, Klee is so good against the run on first and second downs. I'd probably just leave it the way it is. Dorrance comes back, you put him out there. But Dante Fowler Jr. on that 4th down, if he doesn't knife in there, they're probably gonna pick that shit up, right? He's so aggressive. He along with Frankie up front, and I think Daron and he complimented Fedarian Mathis, Big Phil, right? He's like, yo, Big Phil, he ain't getting none of the accolades, none of the big press, but you want to talk about somebody playing the style of football that we want to play? Big Phil. And come on now, you got to admit, you watch Phil Mathis this year and you're like, yo, Phil is getting it. He's putting in work, right? We've noticed Big Phil for the first time in his career this year. There's been times where Phil has played games and we didn't even know he was on the field. Phil is plugging shit up. Phil is getting in the backfield. Phil is collapsing the pocket. So along with Dante Fowler Jr., Frankie Louvu, Dorrance Armstrong, I'd even throw Cleveland Farrell in there. And those guys are playing the way they want them to play. So is Big Phil and Daron Payne, right? There's a level of physicality that we're playing with. And and it's the first time Joe Whitt Jr. has given the defense props in the sense of, we playing with the level of physicality as a complete unit. He's like, we running around. Now, it sounds like it's the same dudes he's complimenting, right? Like, he's like, Frankie Louvu ran in on a play and took out the guard and our shade, right? He took out 2 dudes, a friendly and an enemy, but it's the style of play we want. We want dudes playing fast and physical, and if there's a casualty, so be it, right? But that's how we play ball. That's how we get down. And you can see it. Like, we flying around now. We playing football at a high level defensively. We flying around. Like, even against the Ravens, that wasn't a lack of effort. That wasn't a lack of physicality, right? It was just, they were just better than us, period, right? But you saw it against Cleveland. We took the whole pocket and collapsed the whole pocket on Deshaun Watson and got a sack without anybody actually physically grabbing him. We took their whole offensive line and put it on him. Like, there's a level of physicality, speed, tenacity that we're playing with that fits the Joe Whitt Jr. style and Dan Quinn's style and mentality, and we're arriving violently now, right? We're putting our bodies on people and we're moving individuals against their will. And I'm telling you, this shit is trending in the right direction. I'm going to keep telling y'all this. We won't be beaten defensively because we were out-schemed or we were unprepared. If we get beat, it'll be because they just got more talent than us on defense. Like early in the season, it felt like it didn't matter who the opponent was. We gonna give this shit up. We gonna give up the ass. We gonna give it up. We gonna spread the cheeks. That's what it felt like early in the season. Pause. After that Arizona game, there was this seismic shift defensively where, hey, we taking baby steps. Then we went to Cleveland, and then, okay, we took another step. And then you took a step back against Baltimore. Then you took another step against Carolina, and you're like, okay, I see what this is, right? When we play the teams that are inferior or on the same playing field as us, we going to win defensively because you ain't out coaching our staff. It ain't happening. If you've got superior talent to us, that's how you're going to get us. And theoretically speaking, the Bears have superior talent to us. Our receivers on paper should not be able to, our corners should not be able to cover their receivers. On paper. Shouldn't happen. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze. We shouldn't be able to cover those three guys. Theoretically speaking. But their offensive line ain't shit. So if we go and we play our brand of football and we make life hell for Caleb Williams, we'll balance that out and we might even be able to take an advantage there, right? We'll get to that a little bit later on when we get to behind enemy lines. Joe Whitt talked about DJ Moore being underrated. We don't, you ain't got to tell us. You ain't got to tell us. 9 for 230 and 3 touchdowns. You ain't got to tell us. We know. We know what he does. Right? We are well aware. He talked about Keenan Allen putting something on him back in 2015 when he was in Green Bay. We know what Keenan Allen is. We know. Last time we saw Keenan Allen, 14 catches. We know. Okay? You don't have to tell us. We know. Keenan blessed us too. 14 catches. Last time we saw him, back in 2020. We know. So, at the end, or 2021, at the end of the day, we are well aware of what they have. DeAndre Swift, saw him last year. Remember the game in Detroit where he caught the ball, he got up on some waterboy shit, dusted the bitch off, dusted his uniform off, and then proceeded to run for a touchdown on 3rd and 14? We know what DeAndre Swift is. So trust me, ain't nobody gonna be under the radar in this game. We know. And he's like, yo, they screen game is crazy. They run screens. But yet, you listen to Bears fan, we're the ones with all of the check downs and the underneath throws and the horizontal pass game, right? But who's throwing more screens, them or us? Anyway, I digress. At the end of the day, it's a lot to defend. He talked about wanting to get different guys out there. He was proud of Emmanuel Forbes for picking the ball off. He was proud of Dante Fowler Jr. He said Dante actually got that same pick in practice, but he didn't score on it. And he told him before the game, you're going to have an opportunity to score in the game. Go score. And he did. And they asked him, what's the biggest difference now? Ball is life. What's going on? They catching it, he said. He's not wrong. Quan Martin had a chance to pick one off. Benjamin St. Juste had a chance to pick one off earlier in the season. They're just catching them bitches now, right? We'll see if that continues. He's like, that's the key, is consistency, all right? We making plays now. Do it again. So he talked about wanting to get more guys in. He said, I think Percy Butler, I told you they love Percy. They love that speed. And Percy plays with a reckless abandon that you just love. He said, I think personally, Percy Butler is a starting safety in this league. But we've been really happy and pleased with what we've gotten from Jeremy Chin and Quan Martin. So he said, I got to do a better job of getting him on the field, right? He talked about, other players. Like, because they also asked him about Jordan McGee. And I don't know if I mentioned this on the show yesterday, but he was activated yesterday. They didn't have a choice. That was the last day. They were going to activate him. But he said, look, I don't want to slow the defense down to try to get him up to speed. We got to find a way to get him up to speed to where he can come in and help us, but not slow the rest of the defense down. So he's like, that's going to be a tough challenge, but we going to figure it out. But he talked about just trying to fit the pieces. And he's like, I want Michael Davis to play more. I want Emmanuel Forbes to play more, right? We want to get these guys out on the field, but the general and Frozone have been playing well. And so he's like, I want to get these guys on the field, but at the same time, you got guys playing well. What you going to do, right? So obviously Forbes was on the field, got a pick, and he gave credit to the defensive backs coach, and he gave credit to the defensive pass game coordinator. I don't know why I'm blanking on both of their damn names. I can see both of their faces right now. But Jason Simmons is the defensive pass game coordinator. I don't know why I can't think of the dude we got from the Chargers to run our defensive backs. But he's been working hard with these dudes. Both of those coaches have been working hard with these corners on route combinations, how we supposed to play stuff, how we supposed to pass stuff off. And he said Forbes jumped it so good that the receiver kind of was taken aback and he just stopped, right? We need more of that. That's what they was doing in Dallas. That's how Deron Bland got all those picks. He would just jump shit. You don't want to be too aggressive to where you giving up double moves, right? But if you got a safety over the top and you can be aggressive, go for it, right? Anyway, that was a lot. And this is the thing that makes me confident this week. Joe Whitt Jr. was asked about, does he have a plan in place to defend a rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams? They've seen some things on tape. And he's like, well, Caleb's a different quarterback than he was early in the season when he was struggling. They've completely switched the offense up. They're doing different things now that he's more comfortable with. It's funny because when we were running our college offense, they were, Caleb's running pro-style concepts, and his ass was struggling. And so they've gone to now some shit he's more comfortable with, and now he's succeeding. But we ain't going to talk about that, right? The bottom line is Joe Whitt Jr. gave me a very dirty, dick, dastardly laugh and smirk when he was asked about, does he have some shit he's cooking up in the lab? Like a mad scientist, he went, yeah, but I'm not going to share that with you. I'm going to see if it works on Sunday. Oh, well, yeah, that shit going to work on Sunday. I'm convinced. I'm feeling damn good about this one as far as the defense is concerned. Once again, 2 tickets, must be a member of the mob, hashtag Bear Hunting. No G, Bear Hunting. We're giving those 2 tickets away tomorrow. Let's go behind enemy lines. So, big game, obviously. We're wearing the all blacks. This one matters. And this is a quality Bears football team. I don't think they're as good as their fan base believes they are. But again, much like us, they haven't had a ton of success. So this shit feels good to them, right? So they're on cloud 9. They feel like they've got their quarterback. You can't tell them nothing. They're much like us, which is why I didn't feel like we should be in this predicament with them. They should be able to recognize that we're one and the same, but apparently they're not like us, right? We mentally, we built different than them. They suffering from some shit that we can't relate to, right? They ain't let go of 2017. But at this point, I don't give a shit. This is what I can tell you about the Bears, right? Offense that is steadily improving. The run game has come to life. You shut that faucet off first. That puts Caleb in a position where he feels like, and Caleb suffers from Superman complex. He's one of those guys that feels like, because he had to do this at SC, right? He's one of those guys that feels like, I got to do it myself. And it'll take him a little while. He's not at the point where I'm going to let my playmakers make plays or I'm just going to take what they're giving me. he's not there mentally yet. You can still see it when he's running backwards 15 yards, dipping this way, that way, turning in a circle and extending. He hasn't gotten there mentally where, hey, this shit is over. Let me just get rid of it. You can still get him for a 15-yard sack, right? Or an intentional grounding. But what they've done a much better job of here lately is they've kept him out of those 3rd and 9s, those 3rd and 11s, right? They've kept him out of those long yard situations where he doesn't have to feel like, I got to make something happen. They've kept him in manageable down and distances. The play calls have been very conducive to him being successful, and that's all a part of you being successful on early downs. You take away the run game, you take away the screen game, and you put the onus on Caleb, oh, you can have a field day on that Bears offense. Still not a great unit. Conversely, defensively, they're very sound. They tackle well. They don't make a ton of mistakes. They make you earn everything that you get. They force turnovers. They're really good defensively, but they haven't seen a unit like us. And vice versa. We haven't seen a unit like them on defense. So, again, somebody's going to win, right? Who? It's going to win. I always talk about this when we talk about best third down defense versus best third down offense. Or, and we've already had that challenge. We didn't win that one when we played the Ravens, right? We've talked about, we got the best, scoring offense. They got one of the better scoring defenses, whatever the case may be. Who's going to win, right? This is one of those situations. They're really good defensively. We're really good offensively. Usually, in these situations, the defense wins, right? That's usually how this works. But I don't think they're one of those type of defenses. That's the thing, is they're going to have to make me respect it because we're not the Jags. We're not the Titans. We're not the Colts. Okay, we're not the Panthers. We're not the Rams. We're the number one scoring offense in football. We're a whole different animal, the likes of which you haven't seen this season. You ain't number one probably in nothing if you're the Bears defensively. And that's no disrespect to them. That's a good unit over there. I'm just telling you, them teams I just mentioned, they not like us. They not like us. They not like us. And that's with or without Jayden Daniels. We put up 40 without Jayden last week. And all of that, I'm aware, wasn't on offense. We got some help from the defense. Still put up 30. So, again, and I get it. You're not the Panthers if you're the Bears. I'm fully aware. Trust me, I am fully aware. You're not the Panthers. I get it. You're not the Cardinals. You're not the Bengals. You're not the Browns. I'm fully aware. Touche. Again, we're going to see. Let's get into some of these numbers. Start with the good guys. Offensively, we're 4th in the league yardage-wise at 384.1 yards per game. That thing keeps going up and up and up. Soon we'll be talking about this offense having over 400 yards a game, which is crazy. Scoring offense, I have to apologize. Last night on the Super Friends stream, somebody said we had the number one scoring offense in the league, and I swatted that shit like Dikembe Mutombo. Rest in paradise, Dikembe. And I wagged the finger. No. We are not first. We are second. Ravens are first. But that is not true. We are tied with the Ravens atop the league for the most points scored this season at per game at 31.1. So my deepest apologies. If you're out there and you're watching this, mistakes were made. We are the number one scoring offense in the league. And they got to deal with that shit. And passing offense, 13th in the league, 218.7 yards. That's right around where we need to be because we run it so well, right? We're balanced. I don't ever want to see that passing thing get too far up because that probably is going to come at the expense of our ability to run the football. And I don't want to see that happen. Sacks allowed. Tied for 13th with 16 sacks this season given up, which is a far cry from where we were at the beginning of the year when, we had a little bit more sacks given up than we needed to. This offensive line has been tremendous, and this is going to be their biggest test to date this season. Rush offense, we're 3rd in the league, 165.4 yards. Only team in the league through the first 7 weeks to have 4 or more games of 200 yards or more rushing in the first 7 weeks of the season. So you know what this is. It's a stick up on the ground, and we got to keep it that way against this Bears defense. Third down offense. You know what else is really? I don't think I saw Brian Robinson Jr.'s name on that injury report, and maybe I did. Maybe he's up there and he was limited too. I take that back, but I expect him to play. By the way, third down offense. Third in the league, 48.78%. We're right around where we need to be. It wasn't a great game. I think we were at 50% against Carolina, 5 of 10. Some of that was, hey, look, man, the game's over, bro. We're not even pressed right now. But still, third is it's nothing to poo-poo at, right? Total defense, 16th. Again, we're making our way up, right? Making our way downtown, walking fast. Look, we're making our way up the charts. This was 21st 2 weeks ago. We dropped after the Ravens game to 23. Now we're all the way up to 16th after 180 yards given up against the Panthers. That'll do it, right? That'll do it. Scoring defense. We're all of a sudden, we're 15th. This was in the 20s all year long, right? We got off to a rough start. Tampa got us for 37, right? The Bengals got us for 33, and it was a struggle to work our way out of that hole. You give up that many points in the first 3 weeks, it's an uphill battle, right? Uphill climb. Well, look at where we are now, right? Scoring defense. You give up 7, and you gave up 13 to the Browns, and you give up 14, and all of a sudden to the Cardinals. You're 15th in the league, man. You're top half of the league scoring defense at 21. And you know, we can score it. As you can see, 31. If you're only giving up 21 and you're scoring 31, you're going to win most games, right? Pass defense, 12th in the league, 197 yards per game. We gave up less than 100 against the Carolina Panthers a week ago. So, again, that's going to help there. So, as you can see, defensively, we went from one of the worst outfits to we getting to be one of the better. I told you, I just want to be top half of the league, and we're going to be fine. We're trending in that direction. And I don't think it's an aberration. Like, I don't think this defense is ever going to be great this year just based off of talent. But the mentality is sinking in, and I think the confidence is growing, and I think you're seeing this defense getting better and better and better. Sacks. We're tied for 14th with 18 sacks on the season. I'd like to see that number go up a little bit, but at the end of the day, still feeling really good about where we are there. Rush defense, 18th in the league, 131 yards per game. That went up a little bit. We held the Panthers to less than 90 yards rushing in the game on Sunday. So, again, another feather in the cap there. Third down defense, 23rd at 44%. Hey, look, man. After the Ravens game, we were back down towards one of the worst in football. It's 29, 30, 31, somewhere in that neighborhood. You hold the Panthers to 3 of 10, I believe, and that'll help you, right? That'll put you where you need to be. 23rd, I'll take it. I'll take 23rd in the league defensively on third downs. We need to continue to trend upward, though, right? Don't let your foot off the gas. This needs to be another one of those weeks where we dominate on third downs. Time possession, 9th in the league. Took a little bit of hit there in that Ravens game, so we're trying to dig ourselves up out of that hole a little bit. 31 minutes, 30 seconds. And then turnover differential, this one makes me smile like a proud papa of a son, my only son that finally made it. Tied for 8th with +3. We've been hovering around +1 and 0 the entire season. And I said last week, this is an opportunity. Somebody else said it in the comment section too. I think of our live show, said this is, I want to say it was one of the OGs, right? I think it was Mr. Ron B that said, this is our opportunity against Carolina to not turn it over, but get 2 or 3 of them things. And we got 2 of them things, and now we're +3. Let's keep going. Let's keep mashing the gas. The Bears want to turn us over. That's what they do. Take care of the football, and I think Caleb will give us 1 or 2, right? Even in that game against the Jags, where he threw 4 touchdown passes, almost threw 5, he still threw an interception, right? I think he'll give us 1 or 2. If we're ready to accept the gifts, I think he'll give us a chance to get 1 or 2 in this game. But we got to take care of it too, because this team turns it over. Speaking of which, let's take a look at the Opps and what they bring to the table. So they're 24th in total offense at 301 yards a game. Again, a lot of this is damage that was done early in the season. They've gotten better here of late, but they're still not a great offense, right? Scoring offense, 12th in the league right now at 24.7 points. Some of that is off the backs of their defense and special teams, but they're getting better at scoring the ball too. So again, got to give them credit. Passing offense, 20th at 196.7 yards per game. Again, a lot of that due to the fact that they started really slow. There were games where Caleb didn't even have 100 yards early in the season. He's far beyond that now. So sacks allowed, 25th in the league, 20th, 20 given up. They've gotten better, but even against Jacksonville, I still think he was sacked like 3 times in the game, right? So you can get to him. That offensive line stinks. And we need to take advantage of that offensive line. I'm going to be disappointed if we don't. Rushing offense, 24th in the league at 104 yards per game, almost 105 per game. Again, slow start for them there, but we'll see what happens moving forward with them in terms of rush offense. We need to stop the run. We've been a lot better here of late. That needs to continue in this game if we want to have the type of success defensively that we are capable of having. Third down offense, they're 21st in the league, 35.3% on third downs. At the end of the day, it just all depends on what the down and distance is. You give them an opportunity to be in manageable third down situations, and they're going to convert. You put them in long down and distance situations, I think you're going to be able to get off the field against them. So we will see if we're able to get that done. Total defense, here's where shit ticks up for them. They're 5th in the league total defense-wise. They're good on that side of the ball. I mean, it helps that they didn't play an additional game, but it also could have helped them if they would have played another game and been lights out, right? But they're good on defense. 292 yards given up. That's crazy. That's why they're top 5. Scoring defense, 16.8 points a game. And this is what Bears fans are hanging their hat on. Hey, we don't give up 20. Nothing to nobody. So you going to beat us? You're going to have to stop us from scoring because we ain't giving it up. And I'm like, oh, you going to give this shit up. All right? They're going to turn us into the booty warrior over here. I see your defense. And I likes to score. And I like the end zone. I likes it. I wants it. And we're going to have that end zone. Now, if you want to stand in the way, so be it. But we're going to have that end zone. So we're going to see something got to give. We're the number 1 scoring offense at over 31 points a game, and they're the number 4 scoring defense at 16.8 points per game. Something's got to give. Someone's going to be made to be a liar on Sunday afternoon. Somebody's going to be lying. Best not be us. Pass defense, 7th in the league at 180 yards per game. So, again, they do a good job there. Sacks, tied for 14th in the league with 18. We got the same number, right? So, I keep telling y'all, they can get after the quarterback, but they're not like this dominant group. Like the Giants they're getting after it, right? Giants lead the league in sacks. They're getting after it. The Bears are solid. They ain't great. Rush defense, 11th. They give it up 112 yards. They can be run on, is what I'm telling you. Like, they're not the Ravens, who were the number 1 rush defense in the league. They're not the Buccaneers when we saw them and we struggled to run a little bit. When Jaden's legs were really the factor there. They're giving up over 100 yards on the ground. And we look to stretch them out. Pause. On the ground. Pause again. Third down defense. They're 7th in the league at 32%. We converting at 48%. Again, something's got to give. Someone's going to be made to be a liar on Sunday. It's either us or them. And it needs to be them. Time of possession, 16th. Right smack dab in the middle of the league at 30 minutes and 47 seconds. And turnover differential, this is where they shine. They're tied for 3rd in the league at +6. Right? They take it away, man. And the only reason it's +6 is because Caleb has turned it over, right? He's got a bunch of interceptions this season and probably a couple of fumbles on top of that, right? That's the only reason that this shit ain't like plus 9 or 10. So they take this shit away, bro. We got to take care of the Rock. Big time. Or else. Could be a long day at the office for the good guys. So that is our look at the Bears behind enemy lines. I know y'all saw that line, right? I know you saw the line. I had it up on the behind enemy lines section. And just in case you didn't see it, I put it back up real quick. But Vegas is saying, oh, Jayden ain't playing? Well, we don't believe in you then. Make us a believer. Because we don't believe in it. We won't buy it. If Jayden ain't playing, you ain't shit. The Bears shouldn't be coming to our house as 2-point favorites. We shouldn't be 2-point dogs at home. But the reason we're 2-point dogs is because Vegas is like, Jayden ain't playing. And we don't think Marcus Mariota is good enough to beat this Bears defense. Okay. I hear you. And I don't disagree with your assessment. If you're being objective, I get it. But that ain't how I feel. You know what I'm saying? I feel a little bit different. But only one way to find out how it's going to turn out is to see what happens on Sunday afternoon. And so I feel good about this. I can't speak for y'all. I feel really good about our chances. But that I'm going to feel that way every week moving forward. And because Marcus played last week, if Marcus came in late stages of the fourth for the end of the third in garbage time and just was handing the ball off, I don't know if I would feel as confident. But him playing essentially all game, like he essentially played last game. Like he started without starting, essentially. That experience for him was invaluable. He got his feet wet again, and I think he had a chance to settle in last week because he was jumping around back there. You know, he wasn't comfortable at times, and you could see he was a little antsy, and I think he's going to be just fine. Just fine. We got to protect him. We got to run it. We got to make plays for him. We do that, I think we'll be 6-2 when it's all said and done. But I digress. It's going to be a good challenge. I like the test. We've passed just about every test thus far. Here's another one. We'll see what they do. But I'm talking like it's Friday. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. We'll go through the keys to victory on both sides of the ball. I'll give you my score and more and my prediction for what's going to happen. And I'm going to give away some tickets. So come back, same time, same place tomorrow, and join me. And we'll make it happen on the CNN. Until then, I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. See you guys next time. Take care. Have a good one.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap, and to Riggins. Good hole. He's got the first down to the 40. He's got